What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Flash Speaks, man. I want to talk about a little something different this morning, man. So, will.i.am makes a controversial statement that's going all over the place. will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas, Fergie and them. He makes a statement that Black Thought is 100 times more lyrical than Jay-Z, And I just wanted to weigh in on this, man. All right, now, first of all, I kind of agree with something similar to what Jadakiss said, and I want to kind of expound on that a little bit. Jadakiss said, like, hip-hop and our culture is the only culture where you find people arguing about that. And that's true. Like, even when it comes to, like, not only just say our culture, we'll just say hip-hop specifically. I don't want it to extend to the black culture because, you never really hear somebody saying, man, Stevie Wonder is 1,000 times better than Michael Jackson, right? I mean, unless it's real music heads that just want to sit around and argue and stuff like that. Like, you don't really hear that going on. And it's similar, and I agree with that, before I go into it. When we talk about someone like Black Thought, someone like Jay-Z, right? It's almost like comparing, Billy Joel to Mick Jagger, right? In other words, like, though it's hip-hop is the overall genre, right? But there's subgenres within hip-hop, okay? And these guys represent two subgenres. Why do I say that? Because their core fans are going to be guys that don't really listen to what the other one does. I'm a fan of both of them, from the rip. I'm gonna tell you that there's a number of reasons. Black Thought, though he's from my city, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him personally like that in a way where I formally, like I saw him at, in public spaces. But there's two members of the Roots, Kamal, Jimmy. I knew him from high school. We both went to King, and we knew each other. It ain't like he was just in my school. No, I know Kamal, the one you see on late night Jimmy Fallon, right? He's the light-skinned boy, with the beard now and everything. I remember him back in the day. He ain't had no beard. He just had some straight back braids, right? His name was Jimmy. Later changed his name to Kamal after he became a Muslim, okay? But we were part of the same little group in King. Another person that was part of that group was Eve, right? The famous Eve, what y'all niggas want, right? She was there too, okay? So I know him. Malik B, okay, was on everything I love. Malik B was he was a personal friend of mine, all right? He had passed on, so rahimahullah, right? And I actually have messages he sent to me, DMs he sent to me about a week or so before he passed. You know what I mean? He sent me some pictures, man, some old pictures and stuff like that, because he was kind of reflecting on things. I didn't even know he was dealing with any type of sickness or anything, man. But I know him. I know his father, his sisters, and everything. His father actually was the first person who taught me the Arabic alphabet. All right, Aleph all the way to yeah, right. So him I knew, but that's a little beside the point. So I'm just trying to get out the way. I don't have a bias for Black Thought when I say that I'm speaking without a bias for him, even though he was, the difference between Black Thought and Jay-Z is beyond like flow and rapping ability. I guess one could judge that, and that becomes a taste thing. Both guys are hella lyrical, in my opinion, but the difference is going to be the content and the type of music made, okay? So Jay-Z is going to kind of reflect his experiences in the streets. And from what we understand, he dealt in narcotics, and he liked to rap about that. The second phase of Jay-Z, rather. His first phase, he wasn't really rapping in that way. He was more so coming off of the backs of what was popular at the time. When Jay-Z first got into rap, what was popular was groups like Tribe Called Quest, groups like Leaders of the New School, which is where Busta Rhymes came from. Groups like the Fushnikins, for example, whatever. So Jay-Z coming out early on with Jazzo and so on. He was kind of reflecting that time, okay? But then ushered in the period where, rappers like Nas and so on became popular. Rappers like Mobb Deep and so on, ushered in more of the street rap or the street adjacent rap. Because a lot of them weren't really necessarily in the street, but they were street adjacent, and they like to rap about what they saw and experienced or heard or what people they know were doing. All right, and then Jay-Z later jumped onto that. You saw with his first, official album, Reasonable Doubts and so on. All right, so what he rapping on is that thing. What he experienced in the street, what he did, how he made money, so on. And there's a large portion of the fan base that like that. I love that stuff. I love that gritty street rap, whether I'm in the street or not. I just love to hear it. Similar to how I might love watching a gangster movie. I'm not in the mob, but I love watching Goodfellas. Love watching, Casino. Love watching Godfather. All those different types of things. Scarface, right? It's no different. So you have a group of people that gravitate towards that. Jay-Z also was very good at the club music. Some of the tracks he did with Pharrell, some of the tracks he did with, other artists like that. So he's gonna have his group of people, core fans, that's gonna be into his. I call that a particular genre, a subgenre within rap. Black Thought, though, all right, because of his style. Now, Black Thought wasn't in the street, from what I understand, what I know the most. Malik B was more so. Malik was more so in the streets. Questlove, who I never met personally, wasn't a street guy. Neither was Dice Raw, but they're street adjacent. If you're in Philly, you street adjacent. You might not be in the street, but your older brother was, your cousin was, somebody on your block was, and you might know those guys, classmates, whatever. Somebody in the streets. So Black Thought knew about the streets, and Black Thought was street smart. He know how to handle himself. But what he chose to rap about was a different type of art form. His thing was vocabulary, words, rhyme style, flow pattern, all of those different things. He's going to say things that Jay-Z isn't going to say, and vice versa. Jay-Z's going to say things Black Thought isn't going to say. That's why I consider them two different subgenres. Now, if you're judging just flow pattern, this and that, that's going to come down to pace. Both of them dudes is ill as hell when it comes to flow. Black Thought, though, I think has a very, very unique flow. Very unique. One of the most unique flows, right? And the thing about Black Thought that's amazing to me is I think he just gets better with time. I think he's actually better now than he was, during Illadelph Half-Life, or their first album. I think he's actually better now. That's the amazing thing to me with Black Thought. Whereas Jay-Z hasn't really been releasing much within the last 5 or so years. He's making little appearances on other people's albums and so on. But I'm looking forward to like another album actually from him to say, But I really don't like the question. I don't like what Will I Am is saying. Like the idea that he's 100 times better. I mean, nah, man. And I think that's more so a reflection of Black Thought talks about what Will I Am can relate to or what he likes to hear in a song, where Jay-Z may not, necessarily do that, and that's cool. But you're gonna have many people on the other side that like, Jay is just 100 times better than him, and this that ain't really. I don't think that's right, either way. To go there, both to me are all-time greats. I can understand either one being in many people's top 5. Jay, I can see, people go top 5 dead or alive. Jay-Z being in someone's. He's in a lot of people's. Black Thought is in a lot of people's, without a doubt, man. Black Thought is like either the first, second, in most people's opinion, he's either the best or the second best to come out of Philadelphia. For me, it's between 3 people. See, I go back to the Hilltop Hustlers and all of them. Like I go back, man. I remember when Schoolie D was popular, with PSK, we're getting that green. PSK, we're getting that green. people always say, what the hell does that mean? Like, yo, I go back to that. So, I look at it from a different, like, kind of perspective a little bit. Like, for me, it's between EST from 3 Times Dope. You don't know what that is, you need to go look up The Greatest Man Alive, EST, and see what I mean. You need to go look up, Funky Dividends, if you're not familiar. I remember when the EST first appeared on Arsenio Hall show, man. Like, that was like a big thing around here, man, with the Gumby. He had the Gumby cut. You know what I mean? It's between him, Benny Siegel, obviously, who many will say is the best to come out of Philly. Many people I know from outside the city say it's Beans. I don't argue with that. And then some say it's Black Thought. And the same thing with Black Thought and Beans. Even though they grew up knowing each other, they're from the same exact neighborhood, went to the same elementary school, knew each other, actually rapped together when they were little. It's a similar thing with Jay-Z and him. What they rap about are two totally different things. They represent two different subgenres within hip hop, And who's better at what they do? I think it's a taste thing, man. They both are excellent, So, there's that, man. The spot Black Thought has is an impeccable spot within rap. So, and the same thing with Jay, man. I mean, obviously Jay probably, I would say, attracted a larger audience because of the genre that he rapped in was just more popular, but real hip hop is, what we mean when we say who's better. We're talking about rap skills, not talking about who has sold the most and all of that kind of stuff. When we start doing that, then you got to put MC Hammer in the argument. And then if that's what you're doing, then all right, I'm out. You know what I mean? So that's my take on that, man. Just felt like talking about a little something different. Tell me what y'all think. Peace.